Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. Welcome to Flourish, where we explore how to nurture, coach, and inspire the next generation for success and let their genius blossom. I'm your coach, Diane Planidin, and I wanted to talk about mental health today, and that's why I chose to begin this episode with a quote. It's actually from a poem dubbed Invictus that was written in 1885, later published in 1888 by the poet named William Ernest Henley. And what really stood out for me in this poem is actually how it ends. So I'm hoping you stick with me through the entire episode today so you can hear the full story. I decided mental health was a top priority right now as we are going through this global pandemic. And no, things are not back to normal yet. It's extreme. Life has been extreme, and the mental anguish has been extreme. I'm hearing crazy stories of people drinking during the day to take the edge off. Increased drug use, and not just prescription drug use to numb the pain. But most of all, I'm hearing stories about children and how children are not coping well, and there's so many unknowns right now. It needs to be front and center, top priority to keep our mental health in order. What we're feeling right now is the aftershock of the pandemic. What do I mean by that? Well, at the beginning of the year, January, February, depending on where you lived in the world, you're going through a transition. Governments didn't know what was happening. People didn't know what was happening. People globally are going through this. So now it's 6 months later, and everyone's experiencing what happened and the cause and effect. So instead of being able to cause the effect and act normally, we are having an aftershock. You know, people are struggling. They don't know where their next paycheck's coming from. They don't know how they're going to pay their rent. They don't know how they're going to put food on the table. And in this day and age, let me tell you, that shouldn't be a problem. It should not. So maybe you've been working from home, if you're still lucky to have a job. Maybe you've been homeschooling your children. That's never an easy task. No. Especially if you also have to work, right? So there's a lot of things to reflect upon right now. And you have to reflect upon what just happened. What just happened that last 6 months? Where did the last 6 months of your life go? Because let me tell you, you weren't living like you normally do. I'm not going to talk doom and gloom here. You already know all that. I'm going to offer some ideas that will hopefully help you get through this. I'm not going to talk those negative words because guess what? We all say them to ourselves. We don't need a reminder on what it's like to talk negatively to ourselves. No, I'm not going to talk about that. I am going to talk about how to stay mentally strong, because the children of the world need leaders. They need examples. They need to believe in their future. And in order to do so, it can be anybody's. It can be a child. It can be a toddler. It can be a teen. It can be a young adult. It can be an intern who's working a new job that maybe they don't even go to work. Maybe they're trying to work remotely. Wow. Like, okay, my parents never worked that way. I never worked that way. And how do you begin working that way? How do you stay focused, and how do you stay strong, and how do you keep going? How do you keep going? How do you keep the motivation going? How do you keep the inspiration going and the joy? Happiness is actually work. So if you influence anyone, I'm hoping today's episode is going to lead you down a happier path in order to do so. And that's why I chose Invictus. That poem, oh my gosh. If that's not a reminder on how to keep our spirits healthy and our unconquerable souls alive. Believe in the future, believe in yourself, believe in the next generation, and believe that this too shall pass, and we will come out stronger and wiser because of it. Believe. You are not a victim. This is happening to everybody in the whole world. And do not give anyone permission, and I mean anyone permission, or the privilege to bring you down. No, ma'am. No. That is how powerful we all are. We can choose these things, and how powerful we can control our own mental health. But it takes work. And we have to tell ourselves, whether it's good or bad, we need to have that conversation. So choose to believe you are a warrior. You are a warrior. The word Invictus actually means, it's a word in Latin that means undefeated. So the translation is undefeated. What an amazing way to live. And a lesson written 135 years ago. That was also my point. I mean, doesn't that just blow you away? 135 years ago, they were talking about this. Adversity existed then, and adversity exists now. So what that tells us as human beings is history is going to continue to repeat itself. And we need to continue to learn from it. But we can curtail adversity by being strong role models for the next generation, by being strong and helping one another. Be a strong mentor. And when it comes to children especially, be their guardian angel. Be there for them. Do not let adult burdens be reflected on children. They will have enough of that as time goes on. I'm sorry. Invictus also means invincible. You are invincible. Invincible. If you learn one new word today, let it be Invictus. And remember that. And remember that when your mental health is waning and challenging you, and you start feeling sorry for yourself or sorry for your situation, and you just can't find the strength to bring yourself up, or the strength to bring out the best in others, remember Invictus. Remember that word. And remember that what it really means is the human spirit is so strong that it can stare adversity right in the face and say it. No, ma'am. Please move along. Adversity has no place here. Move along. Let it go. Let it go. You are invincible because you do not compare yourself to others. You are invincible because you know as soon as you start making comparisons, it'll suck the joy right out of your life. You are invincible. You are a warrior. This is where history can teach us excellent lessons. Because you may have heard me say this a few times already, but It is better to learn from the mistakes of others rather than constantly learning things the hard way and dredging through life. Let's not do that. Let's not do that, because there are many, many examples of godly-like people, people we really look up to in life, all through history. And we think, wow, if only I could be like them. And I'm going to tell you right here and now that us mere mortals are just like them. We are just like them. And because they're public figures, we think we know all about their life and how easy their life is and how glamorous their life is. And then something happens, and then we all find out that, oh, we maybe knew about 10% of what their life was like. And my point of saying this is, if you can at least just let the comparison thing go, your biggest comparison should be for yourself. What did you do yesterday? How are you changing the world today? And how are you impacting the future? And you can do that by being the best influencer to everyone around you, especially the children. To be happy, to be truly happy, well, it takes work. It really does. And it's no one else's responsibility but your own. And if you can set a happy example for those you're around, well, all the better. All the better. Because that's why the word Invictus was so important today. And that poem was so important today. Because when you're feeling down, when you just need a break, when those negative thoughts start creeping on in, because they will, you have to remind yourself, you are irresistible. You're invincible, irresistible, human, and that is another adjective for Invictus. So, if you need another word to think about, start there. And if you start early, I mean, the earlier the better, when you're setting an example for the next generation, that's fantastic. But regardless of what age your children are at, your peers are at, your employees are at, honestly, just start today. Just start today. And if you can just have them feel that energy, that positive energy, and use the positive words and teach them. Focus on what they are good at. Then they won't feel the need for comparison. So over time, your child, teenager, young adult, they have self-empowerment, and it almost happened naturally because you've planted the right seeds. You've been using the words, and you've been showing those actions, and you've been believing everything you've been saying. You will now be a stronger person, and you will practice, because guess what? This doesn't happen overnight. Yeah. But you remind yourself every day. Be grateful for what you have. And then you'll have joy and inspiration. And when you have that, then you'll start creating, and you'll start doing, and you'll start living a better life naturally. Nothing outside you brings you happiness. It's all within. It's all within. It takes time, it takes repetition, and it takes new habits. Aha, there's that word again, habits. So today you can choose to turn your life around. Today you can choose to become a person of value to our society. And today you can make a difference in the world and the world around you and your sphere of influence. Invictus That's the one word reminder you need. It keeps you strong, and it matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am a master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. That right there deserves a spot on your vision board, on your bathroom mirror, as a reminder on your phone every day. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. This is how the poem ends. So we've come full circle now. And it was worth the wait. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you for listening. And please take a moment to subscribe and give me a thumbs up. We are all born with a gift. We are all born with purpose. Life's journey is to hone and develop that gift as purpose changes within. And if you know somebody out there, somewhere in the world today, that you think, well, might get a little help from this message today, please share this episode with them, because that is why we're here. We want to spread words of encouragement. We want to help those who need a reminder. They're self-empowered, and they have the power within to do so, and the power to help shape the next generation. So share the word Invictus to remind them. Do it. Be undefeated. Be invincible. Be irresistible. And above all else, be unconquerable. I love that word. Plant positive beliefs and invest in your future and that of those you influence. Live well, my friends. I'll see you again soon.